All right, hey everyone, welcome to Let's Talk. I'm hoping this Let's Talk might get quite a few views because of the topic that we are talking about today. I'm going to try and share this with Facebook, a few different places, see if we can get people to view this. I'm also really excited because I'm talking about like a news topic that I read here in two articles recently, and I want to do more of that on Let's Talk. Kind of want it to be us talking about my opinions on things, not just what I've had in the past and own experiences, but also giving input to literally what other people are saying. So, anyways, on to today's topic. I read two articles on this. Uh, the first one gave some more details that I liked a little bit better and was about here in Salt Lake. The second one was about somewhere, I want to say in Los Angeles, California, but it also mentioned the issues going on here with the U.S. And in both cases, in the U.S., issues in Salt Lake, sorry. And by the way, I'm in Orem, so pretty close to home. But the thing is, in Salt Lake, there's two employees, anonymous, so that they can keep their jobs. And then there's one employee from the Los Angeles or wherever it was. I'm going to try and have the article linked down in the description below after this is done. And both of them have claimed that managers are falsely marking packages as delivered so that they can meet their quotas. And there's a number of customers that have complained about not getting their packages or getting them late. That's an issue. There were also, I think, at the Los Angeles post office, and I apologize if it was, maybe it was New York, I forget, but somewhere over there. There were at least 15 people in there at one time, all complaining about packages and demanding that they get them. And the employee, because he's under a lot of pressure, just said, "Hey, this is what's happening. They're falsely marking packages to meet quotas. It's not good." And what else was? Oh yeah. Oh, and also in that situation, the manager refused to come up and actually talk to the employees. In addition to it, this is what the second article says. The second article, which is the one I read just earlier today, it says that they, dang it, now I forgot what it said. Oh, it says that the USPS, United States Postal Service, declined, or, well, they denied that any of this was going on because they have reporting systems that go up through management, and you can anonymously report things going on that shouldn't be happening, which is actually good. Even Dollar Tree, where I work, has that. So that's a very good system. Now, the big reason that they are falsifying packages as delivered is because they're trying to meet quotas, and those quotas are reportedly tied into their salaries. Now, USPS didn't say anything in response to the news outlet on the subject of quotas being tied to salary, which it makes sense that they could be tied to salary for a post office manager. I don't know if it is or not, but they've denied any connection with that being a thing. Well, no, they didn't deny, but they didn't comment on it. But they did deny that any packages were being marked as falsely delivered. But another thing that will happen too is sometimes they might even mark packages not delivered for other reasons, such as maybe, business closed down if it's maybe a residential place, which is confusing why you do that. Or, they might mark that the receptacle was not accessible, meaning that they couldn't get access to the mailbox to put the mail in, and so that's why it wasn't delivered. Kind of making up excuses there. Now, I'm going to take a little bit of, I'm going to do something that Jordan does, Captain Sparkles. he calls it devil's advocate, where sometimes, and this is where he'll sometimes say, well, maybe this is what's going on and that's why they're doing it, and give them something in favor of them. And I'm going to do just that here. Play a little bit of devil's advocate here, because if it is, hold on a second here. Come on. Switch. Thank you. I'm sure that's not what I think it is, but it just kind of sort of looks like corn. Although I know it's not a corn plant, it's some other type of grass or something. So anyways, so I think it could be tied to the status quota for how many packages they're supposed to have. Oh, also, I need to mention before I say this, the first article that I read that was only about the Salt Lake incident being mentioned from those two employees, it was also mentioned that they don't have enough trucks to meet that quota, especially during the holidays. And then I think it also said something about not having quite enough employees to do it as well. But the trucks was a bigger issue than the number of employees that they had. So here's the thing. I think that the status quota for number of packages delivered could be tied to salary. That would be a very, very important thing to do. Because salary, from what I understand, salary is you're going to make so much per year regardless. And with salary, you don't even have to clock in or clock out. They just keep on paying you pretty much. Because I know that's the way it is with the main manager at Dollar Tree. He doesn't ever clock in or clock out, but because he's just paid salary. So it's almost like 24/7 pay, but not really. Definitely different than hourly pay. They're definitely paid a lot more. But you do also want to monitor them and make sure that they're doing a good job. So in this case here, status quota for packages being delivered is a really good way to measure that. And so I think, here's the devil's advocate, I think that in certain instances, it might be I need this much money to keep my family alive. And in order to make that much, I have to hit these status quota that they've set forth. And that's literally not possible with my resources here. And it's also probably not likely that anybody else would be able to stay afloat with these requirements set. And therefore, I'm not going to, I'm going to falsify deliveries. Because if I can't do it, it's not very likely that someone else could do it. And I can see maybe possibly, because I mentioned keep family alive, but if you considered maybe the manager becoming somebody who doesn't have a family yet, or maybe they're not ever going to, they're not planning on it, someone who doesn't have a family, less money that they have to push around for people. So could be a slightly better issue, could be a slightly better deal there, maybe, but also I don't know exactly what demographic is taking the job as USPS managers. So yeah, but then also some of this could be, I need this much money to live, but it's really, yes, I have a family, but we're also living in a relatively nice apartment. We could live in a slightly less nice apartment and still be okay and have enough space for everyone. So it could be a thing where they're maybe not actually living on bare minimum and using some of that to support their somewhat fancy lifestyle, or maybe not even fancy, maybe just nice. Maybe they're in a comfortable apartment. They could live in a smaller one, but it wouldn't be as comfortable. So I think maybe some of them do need to hit that, or trying to hit that status quota just so that they can stay afloat. And it's just not possible. So if that is the case, then the United States Postal Service needs to modify their expectations. This is something that I kind of sort of see happen at Dollar Tree, where some of the upper management especially once you get up really high into corporate stuff, they expect more than is possible with the resources given. The big thing, I'll be talking about this later on in its own video about Dollar Tree, probably when I'm no longer working there. But I will just say, though, that the biggest problem is they don't give us enough hours and to have actual people there, like, helping and whatnot. So, yeah. And so that could be a case too. Also, the one other thing that could factor into this is the United States Postal Service is losing some money, I think, or they're having problems staying afloat, which is why Obama wants to raise the taxes on, or not taxes, but they want to raise the price that the United States Postal Office can charge services like Amazon for using their service. Cool. I think that could be good. It might raise prices on Amazon a bit, but we kind of sort of need the Postal Service around. At least I think. I mean, there are other services like FedEx and UPS, United Postal Service. So those could possibly be, those could possibly fill that gap. They're doing pretty good. But I don't know how much of a gap they could fill because they're not doing letters at the moment. We still need the post office for letters, things of that nature, and a lot of stuff. So I would say yes, raise the Amazon price that they have to pay. Totally do that. It's going to hurt some people, but do it. Because you got it. You're a necessary service. You got to stay afloat. Do it. The other thing, too, that I read in an article that I would agree upon is they have considered selling access to your post office to UPS and FedEx and other carriers that happen to be around, which I think that's great too. I wouldn't mind them having legal access to my post office, especially for certain, smaller packages. Our mailbox, fitting a package in is always a little bit tricky. If it's a flat package, like an SD card or something, that could fit in there, it's pretty small. And our mailbox is also locked up too. So I think them having access to our mailbox for certain things would be great. And if it helped the post office, then do it. If it would get them out of this problem of falsely marking packages as delivered, do it. Because it's a real problem. Especially when you consider all of the implications that this has on, it's marked as delivered. Well, but it's not here. Did it get stolen? People, start to worry. But then also, if they're falsely marking as delivered, then that means that the estimated delivery dates are also sooner too, which I think is going to increase rate of the package getting stolen. This is something kind of sort of happened to me recently. I had a package that said it was delivered, but it wasn't there. I even went and talked to the post office. They checked and they said, yeah, the GPS on the scanner said that it was delivered at your door. And so, yeah, and I was in touch with the company, and they said that as soon as they were able to file a search for the package, which you can only do, I want to say it's 7 business days after the package is supposed to be delivered, then you can file a search for the package. Good news in my case, though, it wasn't stolen. My mom had just picked it up, like she does with most of the mail and packages, and then she put it in a place she's never, ever put a package ever before. So I'm glad that we found it, and it worked out good for me, and it wasn't stolen. But one thing that slightly bothered me a bit is, and I only noticed this because I was checking to see when it was supposed to be delivered and if it had maybe already come, and I needed to ask my mom if she had a package for me. I was looking and I noticed that they sent a friendly email saying, hey, we've upgraded your shipping for free. It's going to get there sooner. Which, that's a problem right there, because what if I'm not around to no, what if I'm not around because I was planning to be there the day it was going to get delivered, but then they decided to be nice and upgrade shipping for me, and I didn't notice, and so I wasn't around the day that it was delivered. Nobody was around, and then what am I thinking of? Oh yeah, and then it gets stolen because nobody's around to take it inside. So in that case, I'll say really quickly, I think that companies who are going to upgrade your shipping for free to be nice, you can do that, but first make sure you actually get the person's consent. Because for me, I don't really check my email that often anymore, but make sure that you have some sort of verbal communication from the customer that they are okay with you delivering the package early, so it doesn't sit on their porch on a day when they're not home for whatever reason and then end up getting stolen. Thank you, companies. And now back to the post office. It's the same issue here because, I don't know, let's say it's estimated to get there on the 15th, but that's an unrealistic expectation, and it's not going to get there on the 15th. It's actually going to get there on, say, the 17th or so, or maybe the 20th, even later. Then you're expecting to be there on the 15th for the package, and it doesn't arrive, and then, whatever happens, and you're not there the day that it actually does come, and you also don't know when that is because they're falsely marking package deliveries and whatnot, well then, you've got an issue. Then you've got an issue on your hands. Because then the person's not around to pick up the package because they weren't planning on it, and it's kind of sort of your fault, USPS. In addition to that too, because when I talked to the post office, and the nice woman said that the GPS said it was scanned at my house, this makes me wonder, well, I don't know if this is the case of my package had tracking, whereas other packages don't, but I would think that a majority of packages do have tracking because you don't have to buy a very expensive shipping service to get tracking with it, with the USPS. So most packages have tracking. So then also, wouldn't the post office notice and be cracking down on something? Because as the packages are coming in, the workers are, in the article said, they're lining up and scanning packages as delivered. So then wouldn't the GPS on their little scanner thing say, but you're not at the house, so how is this delivered? I'm reporting you. I don't know, but that's something that comes to mind too. But it's just going to cause lots of problems and issues for people when they're going to pick up their packages and when they expect it coming. The other thing too, which could be a case, maybe some of this is mixing in too, but so eBay, I don't know how it is recently. I haven't ordered a package from them in a while, but eBay, in my ordering experience, has had a history of always being late. They're always late. And then Amazon, this is before we had accidental Amazon Prime. My mom signed up for a trial. She forgot to cancel. We had a year. She's forgotten to cancel the second time now, so we still have it. But before we had Amazon Prime, Amazon was always early. Every single time, they were always early, and eBay was always late, which in this case, I would say, well, okay, in eBay's case, I could see maybe possibly people are upgrading shipping for free. They're like, I'm going to be nice. I'm going to upgrade this guy's shipping for him and get it to him sooner. Which, thank you, but again, I would like consent, like I mentioned earlier. But, that could happen in some cases, but I think in most cases, it's not people being nice and upgrading shipping. It's just that the post office gets it there sooner. So in that case, I say, if you're always late and always early, why don't you fudge the numbers and make them so that they match? Because if it's happening like every single time except Amazon before Amazon Prime, then it's like, it's happening every single time. So it's not a random fluke where something made it get delivered sooner or there was bad traffic and weather that made it get delivered slower. So fix the numbers. Seriously. So, yes. This is a relatively messy situation. I think I pretty much covered what I want to say about it. They're doing a relatively good job. They definitely need to step up their game just a little bit. Perform just a little bit better. Fix numbers. Find a way to stop falsifying packages. Seriously, okay? The USPS headquarters, you guys need to look at what you're expecting of them. Find out what's actually being done and what actual resources they have, and adjust your numbers to better match. Because even if this isn't a case of, I need this much money to support my family, and it's just a case of, I want this much money for my own reasons, so I'm going to fudge numbers, well, then you should still look at it and see what is actually possible with the resources and adjust for that. Seriously. If it's not possible to meet certain quotas, then it's almost like, why do you even have them? That would be like if Minecraft had an achievement that wasn't possible to achieve at all, but it was there. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to try and remember to have the first article linked down in the description below for, the second article. Upon request, I can dig up and find the first article that I read on this topic. If you guys are interested to read that one as well, that's the article that talks more specifically about Salt Lake City. And so yeah, leave a like if you enjoy me talking about this. Comment down below if you have any thoughts or opinions on this. Maybe you've got some insight that's interesting. And then also check out a lot of stuff on my channel. I do a lot of things around here. If you're new around here, I do a lot of variety and different things. And so I would encourage you to go check out some of the other stuff that I do, and consider subscribing if you like what you see. Anyways, that's it for this Let's Talk. See you guys in whatever's next.